The towel dropped from my hands, but I didn't flinch. Her laugh, this dry, hollow chuckle that bounced off the laundry room tiles, hung in the air like mildew. "You're lucky I even let you touch me." That's what she said, like I was some leper who'd won a raffle. Like decades of providing, fixing, covering her mistakes and paying off her credit card messes were just some pathetic tribute she tolerated out of politeness. She turned, humming, tossing her blouse into the dryer like nothing happened. I just watched her, not angry, not even sad. Something quieter, sharper. I folded the last t-shirt, that old one from the state fair we went to before her veneers, before her Pilates instructor with the stupid name, before she stopped asking how my day was. I folded it with more care than I'd handled her in months. Then I placed it neatly on the stack and walked out. In the hallway, I heard her phone buzz, a giggle, another message, another little compliment from whoever she thought was her escape hatch. Her voice changed when she texted lately eerier, like she was suddenly 20 again. I used to like that sound. Now it just reminded me of how good liars always enjoy the setup. I passed the hall mirror, looked at myself. Wrinkled, maybe slower than I was at 40, sure. But I built machines that could carve titanium to half a human hair's width. I ran a team of 20 men who didn't dare miss a measurement. I wasn't some slob hoping for scraps of affection. But in this house, I was a placeholder, and placeholders don't argue. We execute. Listen, quick break. We set a goal to hit 10,000 subscribers. So tap subscribe if you're liking these wild stories of betrayal. Now, let's get back to the madness. So, I went downstairs into the office. That drawer hadn't been opened in a while, not since I printed out her client meeting calendar from iCloud, and noticed it included one too many Tuesday dinners at the Burstone. Conveniently, never billed to the brokerage account. Inside the drawer, the box, a small smooth oak box I carved myself after retiring. It was supposed to hold cufflinks. Instead, it held clarity. I opened it. Empty still. Not for long. I flipped open my laptop. No rush, no drama. Just a man doing what he always did. Cataloging, protecting, cleaning up someone else's mess. The folder was still there for when she smirks. First up, email printouts. A Realtor friend of hers, Celeste, had CC'd her on some messages about fun weekends in Ridge Hill. Except the dates matched exactly with the retreats she claimed were for training. One even included a rental car receipt in Vanessa's name, with a second driver added. Not me. Then the texts. I'd synced her phone to the family iPad 6 months ago. She never noticed. Thought it was just for streaming Netflix in the guest room. One thread stuck out. Can't wait to see you outside the sheets for once, LOL. He responded with a thumbs up and a picture. Him shirtless in the mirror of a hotel bathroom. I recognized the wallpaper, the birchstone again. Funny how betrayal has a scent. That place always smelled like lavender and stale desperation. She came down later that night, makeup off, wearing that smug little robe she wore when she wanted to play affectionate wife. You didn't say good night, she said, fake concern painting her tone. I figured you were tired of touching me, I replied. Smiled. She blinked. The moment passed. You're being dramatic, she muttered. I nodded slowly like a man who didn't mind being underestimated. Because men like me, we don't need second chances. We need evidence. The house went quiet around 11:17 p.m. Vanessa had dozed off in bed, tablet sliding off her chest, some real estate podcast still whispering about market trends she didn't understand without her assistant explaining them. Her face twitched in sleep. Maybe some dream where she was still the prize she imagined herself to be, holding court on Instagram in her little beige Range Rover, wine glass in hand, fake laughs echoing in empty houses for sale. I stood in the hallway for a few minutes listening to her soft snores and the occasional ding of some unread message from the man she claimed was just a contact in the industry. Then I turned back into the office. No lights, just the desk lamp, just me and the box. I slid open the drawer. There it was, small square oak smooth edges, brass hinges. I polished myself last spring. I had made it with the intention of gifting it to her for our anniversary. Funny. Back then, I thought we still had one coming. I placed the box in the center of the desk and opened it. Still empty, but not for long. Not tonight. To the left of the desk, my printer clicked on. The first of the emails began to slide out. Celeste, messages, forwarded flights, was not listed under our joint account. Vanessa always thought I was the kind of man who didn't check receipts. Maybe that was true. But I checked patterns, and people like her always left fingerprints. I organized the emails by date. Chronology matters when you're about to dismantle someone's sense of safety. Then came the texts. I opened the iPad screen already unlocked. She never realized the backup sync was still on. In her head, tech was just wires and chargers. In mine, it was leverage. I didn't rush. She'd called me slow for years. "You move like you're buffering," she once joked in front of friends. They laughed. I smiled. Because slowness isn't weakness. It's precision. I took screenshots of the messages she'd sent between showings, once with location tags still attached. "I needed that last night," she wrote in one. "Let's do a quick lunch before I head home." The timestamp, 1:42 p.m. She told me she was stuck in a board meeting. The he in question, a contractor we once hired to fix our deck. I had offered him beer. He thanked me like a son. I scrolled further. Her tone with him, sweet, sugary, nothing like how she spoke to me anymore. One message chilled me more than the others. "He's nice, but dull. A placeholder. My life started late. Dull. Placeholder." My knuckles went wide against the edge of the desk, but I didn't let it sit long. I breathed out, clicked save, and dropped the files into the USB folder labeled June Justice. Encrypted, backed up, copied 3 times. 1 flash drive, 1 cloud, 1 burnable DVD hidden in my tool chest behind the broken caliper bracket she thought was junk. Then I backed up her car's GPS locks. Her new Lexus had tracking through the app, something she never disabled. Rookie mistake. 3 Tuesday visits to a private condo downtown. She told me she hated going downtown, said it was too noisy. Guess some noise she could tolerate. Each location point was exported. I took a map printout and circled the addresses, labeled them in fine red Sharpie. I checked the clock. 12:42 a.m. Not rage, not revenge. Preparation. The box wasn't ready yet. Not tonight. It wasn't just about stuffing it with evidence. It was about the rhythm, the moment, the setup that makes the silence scream louder than words ever could. And that moment was coming. For now, I shut the box and returned to bed. She came into the kitchen like nothing ever rotted in our mouth. Still in her satin robe, barefoot, mascara smudged from last night's lazy half-rin. She poured herself that pretentious oat milk creamer. she always said made her feel cleaner inside. I was already at the table, sipping black coffee and watching the steam curl like smoke signals from a life slowly burning under its own lies. "You're quiet," she said, yawning. "You grumpy again?" I turned my head slow, deliberate, like I was loading a bullet into a chamber. "Nah," I said, letting the silence stretch. "Just tired." She smiled, tight, dismissive, the way women do when they think they've decoded you and found nothing worth reading. Then she leaned against the counter, scrolling her phone, thumb twitching, nails clacking the screen. "I've got that meeting at 10 o'clock. Big listing might run long." She tapped her watch. "Should be back for dinner, though. Don't wait if I'm late. Big listing." I nodded. "Break a leg." She kissed the air near my forehead, already walking off before I could even pretend to reciprocate. I waited, gave it 20 minutes, long enough for her to think I was back in the garage cleaning drill bits or sorting through old screws like the quiet, neutered man she thought I was. Then I got in my truck. I didn't follow too closely. I'd been practicing. Weeks of casual observation meant I already knew her timing, her shortcuts, her signature vanity turn she thought made her driving look youthful. She stopped at that boutique cafe on May. Latte in hand, she turned left down Aspen Boulevard, not toward the commercial lot, not toward the office. I parked a half block down from where she did, parallel, out of view, like I'd done twice before. That's when he pulled up. Red Bee clean. Too clean. Not a work car, and not the kind of guy who keeps business folders in the front seat. He stepped out with a lazy grin in gym clothes, not even pretending he was there for business. And Vanessa, she lit up like I hadn't seen in 5 years. Arms wide, lips wider. They didn't kiss, not on the lips. She hugged him, but not like a friend, not even like a lover. Like property that just came off the market ready for a second tour. I watched them laugh. His hand lingered on her back. She didn't pull away. I didn't flinch. I took one photo, not 10, not a video. One photo. Then deleted it. I already had what I needed. That wasn't for a courtroom or even a confrontation. That was just for calibration, for me to confirm that the man she said was just a gym contact wasn't training her core. He was replacing it. The truth was ugly, but the way it settled inside me, it felt surgical. I didn't feel rage. I felt relief. It was no longer theory. It was practice. She got back home that night around 6:40 p.m., said the client was a flake, blamed it on traffic, on scheduling confusion. She walked past me on the couch like she'd just survived a long day of honest work. I looked up from my crossword, asked, "Get the listing?" She smiled. "Working on it?" I nodded. Her perfume still carried the same citrus note she wore on our anniversary, except now it smelled like the end. She was humming again, that fake, airy hum she used to reserve for happy things like brunch with her girlfriends or finding a designer bag on sale. Now it showed up when she was lying. It floated from her throat like a weather vane spinning in the wind, directionless, trying to appear casual but always pointing away from the truth. "Networking dinner tonight?" she announced while spritzing perfume on her wrists. "Couple brokers from Philly are in town. Gotta make an appearance." "Big night?" I asked, not looking up from the cabinet I was pretending to rearrange. She turned, posed in the hallway mirror, fluffing her hair. "Not huge," she said. "Just opportunities." Opportunities. I'd heard her call things that before. New listings, gym trainers, the married dentist who sponsored her office holiday party and once called her sparkling. She picked a navy dress that zipped up the side, heels too tall for anyone with real work to do, and makeup that said she wanted to look 10 years younger, but only under warm lighting. "You look nice," I said evenly. She smiled. "Thanks." Then she left, not asking what I was doing that evening. She never did. The moment her car pulled out of the driveway, I closed the cabinet, walked to the office, and sat down with more purpose than I'd felt in weeks. I opened the laptop, entered her old iCloud password, still Vanessa Rhee 2019, and let the sync load. She'd gotten careless. The folder wasn't encrypted, not renamed, not even hidden. Just sitting in her drive like a grenade labeled "Pull Me Vids." I clicked 2 files, one labeled Rooftop, the other a timestamp, and nothing more. I opened the first grainy low light when catching the mic every few seconds. But there she was, Vanessa, hair pinned up, laughing too loudly across a high table set with cocktails. A man leaned in, same red BMW guy, clearly not networking. He tucked a stray curl behind her ear like they were in a movie neither of them deserved to be starring in. Then came the second video. The screen was dimmer, but the camera was set down on a dresser facing the bed. Hotel wallpaper, navy curtains, a lamp turned toward the corner. No faces, at least not at first, but voices. Voices are harder to deny. Vanessa's laugh again, low, breathless, then words that made me freeze. "He still thinks I'm going to that dumb mediation seminar." More laughter, then skin, movement. I didn't flinch. I didn't rewind. I didn't fast forward. I downloaded both files and dropped them onto a USB drive I'd labeled in black marker weeks ago. The choice. She had made her choice. I was just the filing clerk. I opened the box again. It still smelled faintly like lacquer and sawdust. Clean, honest smells, the opposite of what I was putting inside. The flash drive nestled easily in the velvet lining. It didn't look like much, but it held everything. Her image, her voice, her betrayal in 1080p. I looked at the second compartment of the box. It had a slit where documents could slide in. Tomorrow the printouts would go there. The map with the circled locations. Maybe the USB gets a label, maybe not. The box wasn't full yet, but it was alive now. A sleeping thing with teeth. I closed it gently, clicked the latch shut, and went to bed. I didn't need to ask how her night went. She would lie, and I would let her. The house smelled like Procco and cover stories. Vanessa had been planning this birthday like it was a reboot, a reset. She called it her turning point year, like she just emerged from some cocoon of self-discovery instead of a bed she wasn't supposed to be in. Balloons draped in golden blush. 42 and thriving. Printed on paper napkins next to a 3-tiered cake she insisted was low sugar, though she ordered it from the same bakery that upcharged fondant like it was cocaine. Her friends arrived in waves, squealing, hugging, wine-drunk before they even hit the porch. Women she hadn't spoken to in months suddenly showed up, filtered and polished. All of them carrying little designer bags and calling her babe and tones sharp enough to slice fruit. I played the doting husband. Pour drinks, grilled shrimp. Let them joke about keeping Scott away from the playlist because I still like the Stones more than Spotify-approved garbage. She bass in it, laughed loud, wore white, smiled with just enough teeth to make people wonder what secret she was keeping. Then came the toast glass in hand. Standing on the second step of the patio, she cleared her throat. "This year's been growth," she started, pausing for dramatic effect like she was on a TED Talk instead of a backyard with a half-broken fence. "Second chances," she continued, locking eyes with no one in particular. "Letting go of the past, moving forward, being brave. Her friends clapped, a few wooed. One of them cried, "God knows why." I handed her the card just as the cake came out. She opened it lazily, probably expecting a spa gift card or some dull affirmation. One sentence inside. "You're luckier than you know." She chuckled. "Wow. Cryptic," she said, holding it up. "What does that mean?" I smiled. "Means what it says." More laughter. Someone handed her a glass of pink champagne. And then she saw it. The box, small, wooden, polished, sitting beside the cake like it had always belonged there. No bell, no note, just there, silent and real in a room full of noise and pretend. She froze for half a second, as narrowing just slightly enough that I caught it. The flicker behind her lashes. She wasn't sure why it was there, but her gut didn't like it. She reached toward it. I placed a hand on the lid before she could touch it. "Not yet," I said quietly. She blinked. "What's in it?" she asked, trying to sound amused. I shrugged. Something real that made her nervous. Not the words, but the calm I said them with. The way I didn't smirk, didn't wink. I didn't try to tease. I just stood there, and for the first time in weeks, she wasn't sure how to perform. The laughter dipped. Her friend nudged her. "What's in the box, V?" Vanessa grinned thinly. "Just Scott being mysterious." She tried to pass it off, but her hand lingered near the lid. She kept glancing at it like it might whisper something in front of the others. The rest of the night blurred. Drinks poured. Selfie snapped. Women complained about husbands while I handed out toothpicks and smiled like I hadn't already rewritten the last page of our story. She didn't open it that night, but I saw her look at it before she went to bed. Not with excitement, with suspicion. It started small. That's how panic always enters, like a splinter under the nail. Subtle until you touch it. A week after the party, Vanessa stormed into the kitchen in her robe, hair half-pinned, mascara smudged in a way she usually reserved for fake crying and bathroom selfies. She slammed her laptop shut, then opened it again, slammed it twice, more like the third time would summon a miracle. "Why the hell won't this thing let me in?" she muttered, jabbing at the keyboard. "Did you touch my laptop?" I was at the sink rinsing a mug. Calm, unhurried. "Nope," I said. "Need help. I changed nothing. My password worked yesterday, now it says it's invalid." I dried my hands. "Maybe someone got into it." She paused, looked at me like I'd said something suspicious. "What do you mean?" "I mean, if your credentials changed without you doing it, sounds like someone else got access." She blinked once, then turned back to the screen. "No, it's probably just syncing issues." Yes, the great evil of syncing. Her goat escape goat. By noon, she realized her work email had been locked, too. She couldn't log into the internal portal. Her calendar was missing entries and her broker-issued phone deadline. She assumed it was the carrier called customer service. They told her that number was deactivated 3 days ago by the listed account manager. That would be her boss. But her boss didn't do it. Not directly. Because 2 days earlier, 3 board members received an unmarked envelope each. No cinder, no note, just a USB, a printout of a hotel booking, and a few stills. Discreet, precise, nothing vulgar, just compromising. The footage from the rooftop bar made her laugh look forced. The hotel image, grainy but unmistakable, showed her necklace, one she only wore when she wanted to feel expensive. And then there were the screenshots, text exchanges with clients that overlapped with company meetings. Time theft, misrepresentation, a violation of professional ethics. An investigation was inevitable, but quiet. They didn't confront her. That would be too obvious, too loud. They let her squirm. Her assistant stopped replying to texts. A longtime client asked to be reassigned. Then the email came. Her protocol. You are being placed under internal review, pending clarification of recent scheduling discrepancies. Vanessa didn't eat that night. She tried to act normal, made her famous grilled chicken, which was just frozen breasts drowned in lemon pepper. I told her it was good. She barely tasted it. She broke around 11:30 p.m. She came downstairs in that oversized hoodie she wore when she was scared and tried to look small. Her hands were shaking. "I think someone's trying to ruin me," she said, her voice cracking. "They changed my login. I'm being investigated." "I didn't do anything wrong, Scott. I didn't." Her throat caught on the last word. I stood, took her into my arms, held her. She sobbed into my shoulder like I was still her safe place. I rubbed her back gently. "Hey, it'll be okay." She clung to me, and I let her because the thing about revenge is it doesn't always need to look like payback. Sometimes it looks like comfort, and that's what scared her most. She started jumping at doorbells. The first time was the mailman. She nearly knocked over the FIs when the chime went off. Said she thought someone was coming to talk. I didn't ask who. I just kept sipping my coffee and flipping through a hardware catalog I wasn't even reading. Then came the call. I was upstairs cleaning out a drawer when I heard her voice from the kitchen, sharp and panicked like a cornered animal. "David, what do you mean she saw it? How would she even know?" "No, I didn't send anything." She paced in circles, barefoot on tile. I stepped to the edge of the stairs, quiet. Her tone cracked. "I don't know how. It's not like it was labeled. No, I swear I didn't record anything." Pause, then almost a whisper. "What is she going to do?" Another pause, longer. "David, please just tell her it was old. It meant nothing." I walked back to the office and shut the drawer. By the time I came back down, she was in the dining room staring at her phone like it had betrayed her personally. She didn't notice me. She didn't look up. Her fingers hovered uncertain like she was deciding who else she could text that wouldn't already know. 2 hours later, she made 3 calls in a row. I only heard one side of each. They all ended the same way, with silence and that tight, fake, "Okay, no worries," voice she used when rejection scratched her pride. By evening, she poured a glass of wine. By 10, she poured another. That night, she tossed so much in her sleep I thought she might levitate. The next day, she didn't get dressed. She stayed in that robe, shuffling around the house like a widow without the benefit of an obituary. Her phone buzzed once around noon. She didn't pick it up. Instead, she opened her email on the tablet, read something 3 times, then just sat there. After a while, she whispered, "She quit." I glanced over. "Who?" "My assistant. She just emailed saying she's moving to Denver, effective immediately." I didn't say anything, just kept folding laundry, slow, methodical. The towel creases lined up perfectly. Vanessa stood for a long time with her arms crossed, lips pressed into each other like they were trying to keep a secret from slipping out. That night, she took a sleeping pill for the first time in months. The next morning, I found her at the kitchen island, head in her arms, tea untouched. I boiled some water, pulled down the tin of chamomile blend she always said helped calm the hum. I placed the mug in front of her gently. No words, she looked up. Holy, smudged eyeliner, hair tied too tight, like she was trying to hold herself together physically. She reached for the mug. "Thank you," she said quietly, almost like she was surprised. I still remembered what she liked. I nodded. "You deserve peace," I told her. Her eyes searched mine, trying to figure out if it was pity or threat. It wasn't either. It was something colder. Compassion with a kill switch. She came home quieter than usual. No slamming of the car door, no clack of heels across the driveway. Just the faint, deliberate click of the front lock and the slow creak of the door. As if even the wood knew it shouldn't make a sound tonight. She told me she was going to therapy. First time she'd mentioned that. Said it like a dare, like she wanted to be praised for it. Look at me. I'm doing the work now. Her blouse was still tucked in too neatly, lipstick too perfect. The kind of effort no one makes just to cry on a stranger's couch for $200 an hour. When, okay, she said, not meeting my eyes. Draining, you know. Sure, I said, flipping through a car magazine I had no intention of reading. You hungry? No, just tired. She wandered upstairs. Not fast, not slow, just careful. I gave it 10 minutes, then followed. By the time I reached the top step, I heard her open the bedroom door and stop. Dead silence. I stood just outside the hallway, still as a shadow. The box was there now on her side of the bed, closed, perfectly centered on her pillow like a crown. She didn't speak, didn't touch it. For the next hour, she sat on the edge of the bed staring at it, legs crossed, one foot bouncing slightly, barely visible except when her toes curled like she was trying to grip the carpet for balance. At one point, she leaned forward, hovered her fingers over the lid, then pulled back like it might explode or confess. Eventually, she opened it. I watched her in the reflection of the hallway mirror, angled just right. Her hands moved slow, unsure if they were allowed. Inside a flash drive, plain black labeled U, a printed map, GPS coordinates circled in red ink. 3 exact locations, 3 exact times. Her Lexus's exact trail logged weekly methodically. One photo, black and white, blurred around the edges, but unmistakable. Her, the man, a bed, her necklace visible, the one she only wore on special evenings. And then the note, not typed, not printed, handwritten in my clean, blocky print. 3 days to pack, then I file, or we pretend none of this happened. Your call. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat there stone still, holding that note like it was radioactive. Her breathing shallow, her lips tight, reading it over and over like she was hoping the words might rearrange themselves into something easier to deny. Her phone buzzed once on the nightstand. She didn't even glance at it. Midnight came and went. The house grew colder. She stayed awake, curled in the fetal position on her side, the box still open beside her, as if closing it might make the contents disappear. I lay beside her, didn't speak, didn't touch her, just let the weight of that box do the talking. She didn't sleep, and I didn't need to. She started on day 1 with roses, bright red, the kind I used to buy her after her open houses. Back when a successful sale meant takeout and movie night, not secret dinners with men who called her V and didn't know her middle name. She placed them in a crystal vase on the kitchen table like they belonged there, like anything beautiful could still grow in a place this barren. I made coffee. She hovered. Thought you liked roses, she said, voice light, almost musical. I like honesty more, I replied. She didn't smile. By noon, she was making soup from scratch, the way she used to pretend was her therapy when she felt out of control. This time, though, the kitchen stayed too quiet. No music, no humming, no clattering of dishes, just careful motion, as if making perfect broth could erase her name from a flash drive. That evening, she came down in silk. No bra hair curled the way I liked it in another lifetime. She touched my hand during dinner, then my knee. Still love me, she whispered. biting her lower lip like it still had power. I looked at her, not with anger, not with lust, just a strange clinical sympathy. "You should sleep," I said, wiping my mouth with a napkin. "You've had a long day." She didn't cry, but something inside her collapsed, quiet and irreversible, like a floorboard giving out under polished heels. Day 2, she got practical, tried to play the adult, sat across from me at breakfast and asked, "Can we talk?" Like we were two professionals negotiating a merger. I nodded, let her speak. She wanted to reset things, maybe take a trip, maybe therapy together this time. I nodded again. "You can plan something. You've got time." She stared. "So, you're considering it?" "I'm considering everything I said." Later that afternoon, she checked her accounts. Every shared fund moved. Every credit line she piggybacked on closed. Her brokerage stocks split already, mine frozen for security, hers untouched and fully visible to auditors. She tried calling her lawyer. I know because I heard her screaming through the bathroom door. "You never said there was a fidelity clause." Pause. "No," he brought it up with evidence. Physical evidence. She came out with red eyes and a forced calm like a newscaster reporting a flood while standing ankle-deep in water. "You had this planned," she said, voice low. "For how long?" "Long enough to not need to raise my voice," I said. Day 3. She got quiet. Really quiet. She didn't cook, didn't flirt, didn't lie. She just walked from room to room like a visitor in her own life, touching picture frames, folding towels that were already folded. She stopped at our wedding photo once, held it for 5 whole minutes. Then she put it face down. That night, I came home from the hardware store. The house was immaculate. Vacuum lines still fresh, bathroom counter wiped, guest room bed neatly made. In our bedroom, the difference was almost poetic. Her side of the closet empty, drawers open, contents cleared, suitcases by the door, everything. She came into this marriage with nothing more, nothing less. On the bed, only one pillow, mine. She was sitting on the edge, suitcase by her knees. "Can I ask one thing?" she said, not looking at me. I nodded. "Do you hate me?" I stood there a moment, then said, "No." She exhaled. Relief or dread? I just finally love myself enough not to be quiet anymore. And I turned off the light. She waited until the last hour. The house was dark, silent. But for the hum of the refrigerator and the tick of the wall clock she once said didn't match the aesthetic. I was in the living room polishing a wrench just to keep my hands moving. The kind of small mindless task that kept me from staring at the front door. And then she stepped in from the hallway. No makeup, hair flat, just her, raw, or as close to it as she knew how to be. She was holding the box, cradling it like an urn. Her eyes were red, sleepless, but for once not defiant, not smug, not armored in denial, just broken. "Scott," she said, voice trembling. "Please, I made a mistake. I was stupid. I was insecure. I thought I needed more, but hey, I didn't interrupt." She kept going like she was trying to outpace the end of something. I was lost. Okay. I felt unseen. I wanted to feel young, desired, and you were always just there, steady. I didn't realize how much that meant, not until I saw what life without you looks like. She stepped closer. "I don't want to lose this. You, us, I'll go to counseling. I'll tell everyone it was my fault. I'll sign anything. Just don't let this be the end." Her voice cracked like glass. I stood slowly, walked over, took a long look at the woman I once built a life around. She clutched the box tighter against her chest like it might shield her from the judgment in my silence. "You said," I began, "that I was lucky you let me touch you." She froze. "You said that like it was mercy." I continued, stepping closer, eyes locked on hers like it was a gift. A tear rolled down her cheek. She didn't wipe it, but now I said, voice steady, "No one will touch your name without gloves." Her knees buckled slightly. She pressed her lips shut to keep from sobbing too loud. The kind of sob that draws pity. I wasn't giving her that. I opened the door. Cool night airport in clean, quiet, final. She didn't move. I nodded toward the driveway. "Your ride's here." She turned slowly, step by step, her dignity peeling off like dead skin. At the threshold, she stopped. "Do I mean nothing? Do you know?" I didn't answer. I didn't over clarity, just closure. She stepped out onto the porch. I took the door and closed it. Then I locked it. Not with fury, not with satisfaction, with precision. The kind of click that seals a tomb. I walked back to the kitchen, poured the last of the coffee from the pot, sat at the table where I used to beg for connection. Then I picked up my phone, turned it off, placed it screen down, and went to bed. No pillow on her side, no weight beside me. Just breath, just silence, just sleep. The first real sleep in